Are you asking yourself what's going on in the Toronto real estate market? Is the market crashing? Is it a great time to buy? If you're looking for answers to those questions, then you need to watch this video. And I'm going to get into it right now. Welcome to the Living in Toronto YouTube channel. My name's Stuart Nodell, and I just want to get right into it and start discussing with you whether or not we're currently in a buyer's market. And what I would love is for you to comment below and give me your prediction of whether or not we're in a buyer's market, we're in a balanced market, whether interest rates will continue to increase, and if so, what's your take on it? Are you doing a wait and see approach, or do you see this as a time of opportunity for you to jump in with less competition and more inventory available? One of the key questions, if you are asking yourself if it's a good time to buy now, will be if you currently own a home and you want to move up, say from a semi-detached to a detached home. What's the difference in prices? So looking at, just an average of Toronto real estate, detached homes are now trading at about $1,915,000. For context, in February, at the peak of the market, they were trading at just under 2.1 million. Exactly 2,067,000 is the number. So if you do own a semi, those were trading at about 1.5 at the peak of the market in February, and here we are in May, and they're about 1,426,000, so roughly 75,000. 150,000 drop on the detached asset class versus 75,000 on your semi. So you can start to now look and say, okay, is it feasible? Is that difference going to make it more affordable for you to move up and buy? Obviously, you have to factor in interest rates that you're going to pay in you're basically buying a mortgage payment. So with the interest rate increase and how that impacts you determines what you can afford to pay. And if that gap is still too great, well, then it's not time for you to buy and you're going to have to wait. But I think if you're considering the move, it's really important to talk to a mortgage professional, break down the numbers, and sort of understand where the affordability range is going to fall for you and be prepared to move if the numbers work. So you do have time on your side as a buyer now. You can sort of let this market come to you, and if the right opportunity presents itself, then you can move forward. I'd like to share a little bit of insight into some buyers that I'm working with, and they were fortunate that we sold their house at the peak of the market about the third week of February, and they got a great price for their home. They had lived there for 30 years, and they're looking to leave the city and have something that they're going to enjoy in retirement. So really the plan for them was not even to buy right away. They were really concerned with the tight inventory, but they have a recreation property that they can go live in for the foreseeable future, which they're going to do. They'll close their current deal, and then they're shopping with cash in hand. And it's a unique position for most people to be in, but at the same time, the market's really come to them, and now it's more about finding the right property. Obviously, they want to purchase, but letting the market, being patient, letting the market come to them is really paying them dividends, because they're going to obviously not have to be in competition in the marketplaces we're looking for them. They're going to be able to deal with a seller one-on-one, no doubt. They're going to definitely be able to negotiate on the price, and probably have some conditions in there to satisfy themselves with the quality of the property they buy. And I think that's real peace of mind for them. I know they're really excited, and I'm looking forward to helping them through this kind of marketplace. And I do think it's healthier, to be in somewhat of a balanced market. I know people think as realtors, oh, you like when you have all these bidding wars and stuff, and it's difficult. And I also work with buyers and with sellers. So yeah, you may do great on the sale, but if you're going to be buying too and you're not leaving the marketplace, well, you're going to go through it at some point in time, and it's never fun. So I hope that we do enter into a balanced market, things are at a more reasonable pace, and it's healthier for everyone. For definition purposes, let's break down a little bit about what it means to be in a buyer's market when it comes to Toronto real estate. And most economists would say 4 to 5 months of inventory, which is really the absorption rate. It means that, depending on how many properties are currently on the market, it would take about 4 to 5 months, if no other new inventory came to market, for that product to sell. And we are creeping up into the 2 and 2.5 range months of inventory. in almost all asset classes in the Toronto Real Estate Board. So what I would say is we're still in a seller's market, but we're definitely in a different we have shifted, and with interest rates rising, there's a lot of uncertainty. So it's likely that inventory is going to continue to increase. There are people that are in the middle of transactions because this year most people have been choosing to purchase first and then sell their property. And there's people that are in between the two, and showings are way down. And I know when I talk to other colleagues and even other clients of mine, when we're talking about strategy, you really want to make sure if you're selling that you may want to buy first, but your house has to be absolutely ready to hit market literally the day after you make your purchase. So you're buying and selling in the same market if that's the strategy you employ. I personally think more people are going to start to sell first. So that's also going to add to the inventory. So you're going to have the mix of selling first. You're going to have the mix of people already on the market. And then unfortunately, we've had situations where there's people that have already done a transaction and their buyers have failed to close. And then those properties are going back to market. So there's really going to be an influx of inventory here. Again, rising interest rates creates a lot of uncertainty. So that's why I feel prices will continue to come down as we go through the summer. But as it stands, we're still in what's technically a seller's market, but it's no doubt that we're going to be in a balanced market very shortly here. And in a lot of cases, we already are. We're seeing lots of people either terminating their listings because they just can't get an offer that they deem as what they want to or willing to sell their property at, and maybe they don't have to move, so they're just pulling the property off the market. For those that do have to sell, we're seeing lots of terminated listings relisted at lower listing prices. We're seeing people now coming to market with more realistic expectations, and I think the key is, for them is do they want to be, in the market, on the market, or ahead of the market? And you as a buyer, you need to know that when you're shopping for a home now, is that you do hold a lot of leverage. Sellers are very anxious, waiting on an offer, just praying for an offer to come through. So it's really time for you as a buyer. You can be prudent and take your time and make sure you find the right house for you. But it could be opportunity time for you because it'll take a while for the dust to settle. And I don't think that'll be until what we know the interest rates are going to end up at for the foreseeable future. Then we'll see more stability and more calm. But right now, there is a lot of uncertainty. So that could be creating, as a buyer, an opportunity for you. Part of understanding, being in a buyer's market or whether it be a balanced market is just, the news cycle. Whether we want to admit it or not, it does play with our psychology. And as you can see, there's a lot of news articles, whether it's financial institutions or economists, giving their input and insight into what's happening in the real estate market and where they expect it. Now, typically, these predictions don't usually come true. They are just that, predictions, kind of like the weather. But it's certainly, they're giving their insight based on what's happening now. And we're going to have to go through probably the next few months, maybe even 6 months, to be able to look back. And then in hindsight, it's always easy to say, oh yeah, you could see how that happened, and you'll have a clearer understanding. But right now, we're living in it. So again, I would say technically we're not in a buyer's market, but we're definitely entering the beginnings of a balanced market. And if it does head to a buyer's market, we are expecting another rate increase potentially in July. And depending on how much that is, it's obviously going to shock the system because we know with the most recent 50 basis point increase, it has impacted the market. And the fixed rate mortgages, they've already been done with earlier in the year. So those rates were already up, but obviously the variable rates and the HELOCs, that's having an impact on some of the investors out there because their carrying costs have gone up. So it's just things to pay attention to and understand. But again, when is the right time to buy? Only you can decide what's best for you, but the best time for you to buy is when you're ready. If you have any questions or opinions you'd like to share, please comment below. I always love to hear what you have to say and what your predictions are for the real estate market. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed today's content, and I'll see you on the next video.